was like, hey, I got 200 leads on TikTok for $100 just on this rental arbitrage thing. And he was like, how many leads again? I was like 200. He's like, for $100? I can find something to sell to them. Literally a month later, we blow up this program. Yeah. And then he was like, yo, I'm coming to your house every year at midnight.
Oh, it's a tradition now.
Yeah. My piece of advice is no matter how big you get, never forget your close ones, your family, your loved ones, because those were the people that were there with you even when you first started.
Welcome back to the 4Media Uncut podcast. We got a return guest again, flying all the way out from Denver, Colorado, Mr. J.R. Rivas, but this time he's brought on his new business partner, Mr. Phillip Tran, and they're doing something in the Airbnb space that no one has ever done before.
So JR and Phillip are leveraging Airbnb in a way that no one else has done it before. I think you guys are going to find their story extremely fascinating because they're just moving in a way that a lot of people haven't considered. They also are popping off on YouTube with their full disclosure podcast. So once you're done listening to this episode, definitely go give them a follow and check out their show. Quickly, before we jump into the episode, I just want to make a quick apology to our viewers out there. Unfortunately, we lost the footage for one of our cameras, and that camera was the camera that was focused on JR and Phillip during this episode. So unfortunately, we just have the wide angle footage. I know this isn't up to our normal standards, so I just want to apologize to the viewers, but most importantly, I want to apologize to JR and Phillip for misplacing that footage, and unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make as many clips and promo footage and stuff as we would like. I know you guys flew a long way to come here and be on the podcast, but the episode is still great. So to all the viewers out there, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and please enjoy the episode. All right, so we've got J.R. Rivas and Phillip Tran on the podcast today. J.R., you've been on the podcast before, so
yes, sir. Two-time guest.
Yes, you're back. You ditched Joel, and we've got his replacement. No, I'm just
Joel ditched him first, to be fair. Joel ditched him first.
True. Joel brought Sergio, so it's a little switcheroo. But excited to have you guys on the podcast. The hosts of the Full Disclosure podcast, which is, you guys have been killing it.
Oh, fuck
Shout out.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have been, dude, I just scrolled through y'all's Instagram or YouTube the other day.
He doesn't watch it, he just scrolls.
And I was just like, damn, these guys are putting out a fuck ton of shorts. Like, you guys are just cranking the shorts.
Shorts? Oh my God, dude. We got a short that got 2 million views.
Wow.
And the title is literally just Aziz Ansari, and it's spelled wrong.
Yo, the video starts off with JR saying, so this Indian guy, and then just all the comments.
I'm pretty sure everyone in India knows who the fuck I am now.
Yeah.
I lied. There's like 7 billion. There's like a billion people in India.
And you have 2 million views. I'm going to do the math here.
It's a good fraction, though.
Yeah. Like maybe chunk. One village really knows who JR
If he shows up in India right now, I bet you there'll be like 5 people that be like, yo, I saw you on YouTube.
That's hilarious.
Dude, have you guys gotten approached on the street from somebody from the internet?
Not on the street, but at events all the time. I'm like, who the fuck are these people? And like, I don't know, like 15 people be like, oh, hey man, I follow you, and like, oh, I'm like,
it's happened to me.
Not that I don't appreciate it. I'm just saying, like, I'm surprised. I'm like, who the fuck follows me? You know what I mean?
It's happened to me at a couple of concerts before. People come up to me like, hey, I know this is weird, but like, I listen to your podcast. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Yeah. Like, thanks. Like, what's up?
Dude, okay, so quick story. So this probably happened to me 3 times in my marketing career. But it happened. Now it happened recently, and we started doing TikTok and all this shit. Dude, we're out Saturday night, Saturday night, and so there's a long ass line to get into this like bar club, and I'm like, lines, those are for poor people. So we go to the bouncer and we're like, hey, if we give you $100, there's 5 of us. Will you let us in? He's like, walk to the end of the line and come back and I'll let you in and, have the money ready. I'm like, okay, cool. Walk to the end of the line, walk back. We're on the way back. This dude comes up to me and he's like, yo, you're J.R. Rivas. And I was like, yeah, but I'm like focused on the mission of getting in. So I'm like trying to ignore him. He's like, yo, I've been following you since the Facebook days. And he's apparently followed me since like 2016. So whatever, like I get in, forget about this guy. Like 30 minutes later, he finds us again.
In the club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he comes up to us and he's like, yo, I have $100,000 that I'm looking to do something with. Yeah. And then Phil goes, buy our program. And this dude on the spot bought our program, and which was, you know,
in the club.
$8,000.
Bro,
Yeah.
I whip out the processor. I start typing in.
Wait, he hit us with an objection. He's like, I have a limit on my bank. I probably can't get hit for $8,000 right now. He had like US Bank. This dude showed me his bank account. He pays through his bank card and then the rest through Venmo and closes on the spot with hardly any objections. And that was the moment where I was like, we're going. This is basically organic content. On like, this is what it's like when you have a large organic.
I've been
following.
preaching this to you guys for a long ass.
Because I thought about it and I was like, dude, this guy's followed me for a few years and he asked no questions. He wasn't like, when do I get my property? How long does it take? You know, what's the ROI? Blah, 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 blah. It was just like, I've been following you. I trust you. Here's my fucking money on the spot.
This guy bought the program mainly because he knows JR. And JR couldn't believe it. So JR, while the guy was typing in his stuff to pay for the program, JR is trying to explain to him about the program. He's
like, overselling.
He's like,
because I'm like, this can't be real.
Like, just so you know,
I'm like, yeah,
you get a property.
I'm like, you know, we also have
exactly
coaching calls. We also have coaching calls, and there's a course, and like, you know, you get all this support. And this dude's literally like typing in his
it was
credit card.
quiet while he was just like typing in. JR's like, yeah. So Wednesdays we do our calls, and I'm like, bro, stop.
I was just like, I can't believe this is real. And I was like, dude, this is what it's like when you have a large audience. Not that we do, but when we build a large audience, it's this times 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess you're a celebrity now, so we're honored. We're honored to sit in front of you two right now. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence.
Can I sit in your Corvette, sir?
Look, people know who JR is, but we don't know much about Phil. Phil, give us a little background about yourself, bro.
Yeah, just a high level overview. I'm actually...
You're Asian?
I'm Asian, yeah.
Whoa,
Asian.
Crazy.
I'm also 23. I just started this entrepreneurship.
You're only 23?
Yeah.
What?
You didn't know that?
I thought you were like 26, 27.
They're like 37.
28. 32.
No, I'm actually 23. I just dropped out of college last year.
Damn.
Yeah,
fresh meat.
Yep.
Fresh
last year of July, I was in the marketing agency world. That's where I started. I actually joined his program. He was my first program that I bought. And
did you join Joel's program too?
Yeah, I joined after. So I started my agency, was in his program for 2 months. Then I joined Joel's program, was in that program for like 3-4 months. And
what type of agency were you doing?
Solar. Solar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
solar.
It's terrible. I hate solar clients.
There's a lot of money in it though.
There is a lot of money in it, but just solar clients, contractors in general, just not fun to work with. So then I moved out of that, just started doing agency coaching, and then dropped out of college, moved to Denver. I was playing football in New Hampshire. So it was just super cold all the time. So I was like, I gotta either move back to California or I can find somewhere else to live. Didn't want to move back to California, moved to Denver. Started looking into getting into real estate with no money, basically. So that's where
what you
found,
typed into Google.
I literally typed in Google,
no money.
how to get into real estate with no money. So then I found out about this whole Airbnb rental arbitrage route. And while I was looking for my first deal, I saw his post of him setting up his Airbnb property. And then that's how we kind of connected, and that's how I fell into the Airbnb arbitrage route. So
what is Airbnb arbitrage? Explain it to someone who doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, so it's basically going out, pitching a landlord on this specific model, saying, hey, like I want to rent your house. I'm better than a long-term tenant because we clean the property about 4 to 5 times a month. We literally have to keep it in pristine condition because we can't have a guest here with a hole in the wall. So let's say the landlord said, yes, we rent out their property for $2,500 a month. We put it on Airbnb. We make $10K gross. We probably keep around $5K out of that. So you're basically just arbitraging the home without having to own the property, and you're just creating cash flow on somebody else's property. So for example, mine in Colorado, I rent it out for $2,700 a month. We do about anywhere from 10 to 12K gross. And I'm now renewing my lease. So I'm about to have that for another 2 years. So a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, well, you don't get the equity, you don't get the appreciation. I'm not looking for that, right? I'm looking for cash flow. I'm also looking to kind of scale that up so that I can get more and more properties. Because a lot of times people purchase properties for this, and how many can you purchase in a year, right? So that's what high level overview of what rental arbitrage is, but that's kind of how I got started, and that's also how we connected and partnered on this.
So what is it going like now? When did you start this?
The offer or rental arbitrage?
Just rental arbitrage.
I started this last year, November.
And originally it was like more of a coaching type of thing, and then you guys realized that you needed to do more of a done for you type of thing. On the front
back up for a second. This dude hits me up and he's like, "Yo, he's like, let's do." He's like, "Oh, I'm trying to launch like an Airbnb offer." I'm like, "That sounds like a terrible idea," and he's like, telling me about it, and I'm kind of giving him some advice, and then we talk about partnering, and I'm like, I had kind of exited the internet guru space.
Yeah.
So he comes back to me again, and I'm just kind of giving him advice, and then he comes back to me a third time, and he's like, "Oh, I got 200 leads on TikTok for $100. Name and email, and book a call."
Everything, no, like the whole entire form.
Yeah. So I was like, that's when the light bulb went off, and I was like, 200 people, like, yeah, sure, they were lead ads, but I'm like, I could find something to fucking sell 200 people that opted in for $100, right? So then I'm like, okay, fine, like, let's try it out. And we launched just like a standard coaching offer, and brought on a sales guy. First 2 weeks, couldn't close a paper bag. And then I started thinking about like, okay, if I really think about an offer and like put all my focus into like how to make this offer better, I can usually come up with something. So I started thinking like, all right, the easiest way to start getting sales is to have a good offer. And I was like, if we had a good offer, we would have started fucking selling this shit by now. So I'm thinking about the offer. And then I start thinking like, so there's this exercise where you write down everything that you could do in an offer, and then you just take away the things that are unrealistic or that you can't actually fulfill on. So I start writing down like, what if we fly out there and do it for them, and what if we like somehow find turnkey units, and what if we like furnish it, and what if we find it, and all this stuff. And then I peel it back, and I'm like, it just like hit me like in the shower. I remember I like smacked the wall, and I was like, I fucking got it. I was like, what if we find the property for them, negotiate the lease with the landlord, and then hand it off? Because those are the objections that we got, those were like the hardest parts. Like, how do I convince a landlord to do this? How do I know my property is going to be profitable? So I was like, if we could create an offer that solves those two things, then it would be easy to sell. So we do that. I put it out to my Instagram, and we closed like 3 deals in the first like 2 days. So I'm like, all right, this is definitely the fucking offer.
Yeah. I actually I asked him like 3 times to partner. And the last time I FaceTimed him, and I was like, I don't think you remember, but you were
Were you living in Denver at the time?
Yeah, I was living in Denver.
You were both living in Denver at the time?
Yeah, so he had moved to Denver after New Hampshire. And the reason he picked Denver is because I had an event.
Yeah, and I went there for a day.
Yeah, and he was like, this is awesome, let's move here.
Once I decided I was going to leave college, right before the season.
And you were still playing football at the time?
I was still playing football. I was on scholarship. I played quarterback. And this was like, even today I kind of feel bad about it, but a day before summer camp's about to start, I called my coach. I was like, hey, like this, I'm going to be dropping out. Like, I'm going to be going full time into business. I'm also going to be leaving New Hampshire. So
Did he kind of know, you think? Or
no, he didn't know.
No, so his coach recruited him from California and got him a full scholarship and everything.
Yeah.
All
If
the way
you
to
see
fucking
Phil's tape, you'll realize he's actually trash. It was just
You saw my tape?
I thought you were about to say he was nasty or something. Like, dude, if you see his tape, bro, that's funny.
Yeah, so I lived in California my whole life, played high school there. I went to a junior college for 2 years in Los Angeles, got recruited from them. They basically just gave me a full ride scholarship, come play here for your last 2 years. So I moved out there. COVID happened, all this stuff. Basically lost 2 seasons. And my coach was like, you still have your eligibility, but the thing is, you'd be graduating at like, I'd still be in school right now. Like he'd be graduating at 24 because you have your 2 years of eligibility. I was like, hell no. So then I had to think about it. Called him up, just basically said I'm going to be leaving. Asked my girlfriend. I told my girlfriend, I was like, hey, I'm dropping out. So where should we go?
God, the effects of COVID go so much deeper than
it does. Because like I was thinking about, I was like, I hate school. I was only there for football. So to think about me being there for 2 years, he was also like, you have 2 years eligibility for football, 1 year left for your bachelor's, which means we would have to enroll you into a master's program. I was like, no. Like at that time, my agency was doing like 50, 60K. I was like, I could put a lot more focus into business and kind of just go full time into this. So that's what I eventually decided. Right after I told him that I was going to drop out, I told my girlfriend, I was like, I'm dropping out. Where should we go? Because I don't want to live here. And we made a decision basically that day, like we're just going to go back. We're going to go live in Denver and try it out. So when I got into Denver, when I started the arbitrage journey, I hit him up. I was like, yo, I just got this deal, this arbitrage deal. He was like, send me the address. I sent it to him. He was like, did you sign the lease? Because it's illegal to do Airbnb here. I had no idea about regulation there. And then he was like, yo, just stop, just come to my place, come check on my Airbnb and we'll talk about this. So that's when I started forming the idea of like, I'm going to learn this Airbnb thing. Then eventually I'm going to start an arbitrage program, which I reached out to him like 3 times to partner. The third time was that when I told him, I was like, hey, I got 200 leads on TikTok for $100 just on this rental arbitrage thing. He kept saying no. Last time he was in jiu-jitsu, I was like, last offer here. This is the last offer. And he was like, how many leads again? I was like 200. And he's like, $400? And I was like, yeah. He was like, I can find something to sell to them. He's like, I'm down. So yeah, that's how it started. We started with the coaching offer and then we moved into Done For You. And now
so what happened with the coaching offer? It just didn't work.
Well, we had no testimonials, like no proof of concept on anything. Like we were just getting started. Like now
we really didn't understand TikTok traffic at the time, and we had a new sales guy. And like, I think if we tried it now, we could probably figure something out.
Yeah.
So what did you learn about TikTok traffic?
Dude, so the same way that you launch a new TikTok account and you watch like 3 videos and it already knows what the fuck you like, the ads work exactly the same way.
Wow.
So we didn't use any targeting at all.
All open.
We have a TikTok ads guy and he does targeting and interest and all this shit. We did 0 targeting. It was just like no interest, which works on Facebook once you have an account that's warmed up and all this shit, but it worked on TikTok from like day one. And then over time, like we were like, dude, these leads are actually fucking amazing. Like we got someone who booked a call. He didn't end up buying, but he booked a call who was like very high up in Coinbase, like executive team level, off fucking TikTok. And I was like, once I started to see like the quality of the leads, I was like, I can't believe these people are on TikTok.
Yeah, people think it's just kids on TikTok, but that's not the case. Like we have a couple of clients inside of our program that are executives at a tech company. And I was like, what are they doing on TikTok?
It's Facebook. It's Facebook 2016.
It reminds me too that like when I'm scrolling on TikTok and I get like an ad, most of the time the ads are like for stuff that I just like don't care about at all. Mm-hmm. But like when I do get an ad that's like very specifically targeted in like a business type of way, I'm caught off guard because like I'm on TikTok. I'm like, dude, I'm not here for this right now. I'm trying to like laugh. But then at the same time, I'm like, shit, like he's got something interesting to say. Like I'll stick around for this video and see what he's got to say. Yeah. And so like I feel like sometimes I get sucked into like the business side of my brain when I'm really going to TikTok to just goof around and just like shut my brain off.
The ads on TikTok, they blend into the feed a lot better than any platform I've ever seen. Like on Facebook, I always knew when I saw an ad, I always knew it was an ad. And then people started to catch on and they started to make, ad images that are more native to the platform or whatever. But in TikTok, it's like a lot of times I don't realize I've just watched an ad until I've like completely watched the ad.
Yeah, our media buyer right now, he ran a professional ad that was like professionally shot, edited, everything, to an ad that I just shot in like 5 minutes at a WeWork selfie style. And he was like, that one works way better than the one that's professionally cut up.
We have an ad for our automotive department. We were just talking about this the other day. I've stepped away from that department, like on a day-to-day operations. Like I just talked to the head of that department essentially, and they've tried 100 different ads in the last 2 years. And to this day, the best performing ad is 2.5 years ago. I stood in my backyard in my apartment and shot a selfie video.
And there's dog shit on the ground.
It's still working today.
There's dog shit around me. Like I couldn't walk because there's my dog shit everywhere. and I was standing right in the middle of
Because
it.
it blends in so well to the normal feed.
Yeah, and it's still the best performing ad, like by a mile and a half.
It was just one take too, like no cuts,
Literally nothing. I was
like
like,
no edit.
we didn't
straight
even have
from the
editors.
phone.
We didn't even have editors. I gave it to my wife. I was like, final cut this bitch and put a title on it. It's still the best ad, bro. But like, here's the thing with TikTok. It works
Open up iMovie. Let's go.
Broad works for you guys because your offer is broad.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, our offer isn't broad as a marketing company. You know what I mean? So like broad will not work for us. We'll literally just burn dollars. You know what I mean? Because I need e-com brands who do X amount of revenue every single month, etc. You guys have an offer that anyone can buy.
Yes.
As long as you have money, you can buy it, right?
Yep.
It's really the qualification.
Yeah.
So it's easy to go broad, which like that's why I'm telling you guys you should like quadruple down on it and scale as fast as
And
possible.
hire you guys basically.
Bro, I mean, why not? You know, you've seen what I do. I got some. We'll talk later. But that's sick. So how's it going? Give us like an update.
So first month was we launched it end of February. March we did 50. April we did 100.
Wait, slower. 50. How? Like, what did you?
Hold on, I gotta share something first before we go into numbers. So I'm Asian. I believe in Lunar New Year's. So that was February 4th this year. It changes every single year. I hit him up. I'm like, yo, this might be weird, but I believe in Lunar New Year's. And typically how it goes is at midnight, somebody that's successful and that you believe is healthy walks into your house and basically brings good luck, lights an incense, brings good luck into the home and to the people living in it. So I hit him up. I was like, you know, like you're basically the only person I know here. You're also successful. You're my first mentor. Like, I want to choose you. Can you walk into my house at midnight? He was like, sure. Mind you, in his head, I know in his head, he's like,
what the fuck is going on?
this?
Who's
Like,
this guy that I got into business?
yeah, and mind you, we only
No, we weren't partners
We weren't
yet.
partners.
Even
we
worse.
only known each other for like 3 months at that time, 3-4 months. And
like JR is my shaman. For
he
the
was
night.
like, sure. So this guy is standing in the hallway. He texts me. He's like, so do I come in at midnight or after midnight? And I'm like, bro, just come in. So he comes in and he was like, so what do I do? He's like, okay, light incense. He's like, I'm like, pray and just put it there. He's like, okay, sounds good. He does it. It takes like 5 seconds. He's like, so that's it? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, cool. I'll call an Uber home. Mind you, when he left, I was like, this guy probably thinks like we're fucking crazy. I told my girlfriend that because my girlfriend's been with me for 3 years now, so she knows how it goes. He leaves. Literally a month later, we blow up this program, and then he was like, yo, I'm coming to your house every fucking year at midnight.
Oh, it's a tradition now.
Yeah.
So that was February 4th. We partnered on like February 25th.
Yeah.
And then so March we did 50. And that was just
like
so
organic, like
just off TikTok. Maybe we did like 3 organic sales.
Yeah.
And then the rest was TikTok.
ads.
Ads. And we had just hired a sales guy. Like we hired, because I've run a sales team before, he's run a sales team before. We're like, all right, let's not even fucking sell this. Like we know if it's the offer or the sales guy, or at least I would be able to figure that out. So we do 50. We made a goal. We're like, let's try to get this to 100 by my birthday. My birthday is May 24th.
How many people did you close?
For 50. So it was a 7K at the time. And I closed like 2 or 3 off my Instagram. And then the rest were from TikTok.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then next month we do like 110 or something, second month. And I'm like, cool, we're like a month ahead of schedule. Then next month after that, I think we did like 140. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then last month we did 300. So every single month we've just continued to grow and continue to grow. And our team has grown to 20 people at this point. Just all majority US based, and then a couple of people in the Philippines.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, it doesn't. So sometimes I look at it and I'm like, we went from 0 to 3.6 million in like 6 months. It's fucking crazy. But then I think of all the shit.
3.6 million run rate.
Run rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I gotta clarify here. I don't want to be a marketer. And this is also,
But that's how every marketer advertises everything. I got to $10 million in 6 months. I'm like, what the fuck did you do? And then I look and they're like, oh, well, we got to like 750K.
Right.
Which like if you did that for a year, it would be $1 million.
Also, to be clear,
I'm like, dude, you can't like.
This is cash collected, not revenue. We don't do payment plans. We don't do any of that shit. So when I say we did, it means that's how much we
also
collected.
a good clarification.
Yes,
as well.
yes.
People are like, yeah, my coaching program does like $500K. I'm like,
revenue.
Cool. Like we collected 100, but like we signed 500 in contracts. We'll eventually get there.
No, we know a lot of people do that.
Yeah, it's bullshit. So 300 cash collected, $3.6 million run rate in 6 months. And I look at that and I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Like we've gone so fast. But then I think of like all the times where like I scrolled Instagram and when I should have been working, or I should have launched, like we should have launched this thing by now or fixed this thing by now. And we haven't. And on a macro, it sounds like we went fast, but on a micro, it feels like we've gone really slow.
Yeah, especially when Eddie tells you, yeah, if I came in, we'd be at 10 mil already.
Bro, they call me like once a month and we have like a 50-minute call and they come fucking with like ridiculous ass questions and I like calm them the fuck down.
I text Eddie. Eddie and he's like, this must be important because Phil's texting me back so fast.
I was like, I've never seen Phil text me back this fast.
Okay, but
He's waiting by the phone.
Can you talk, please?
Yeah, I was like, Eddie, you free right now? I need to call you. He was like, this must be important.
Okay,
He was
but testament to Eddie that day. We're like, yo, Eddie, we need to talk to you right now. He's like, this must be important. He's like, I'm with my baby.
Child's being born.
No, literally.
He's in the delivery room he's on the phone like, what's up, guys? We're like, yo, we need to hire.
Push. Almost there, baby.
But seriously, he was like, I'm with my baby, but we can chat for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And this dude gets on the call with us to like, just to like calm us down and just give us like direction. And what I've always appreciated about you since I met you is you're so fucking logical anytime I talk to you, I'm like, why didn't I just think what's the most logical way to solve this problem? And that's what you typically say. So like, to give you this example, we were like, should we invest $20-something thousand in this program that's going to help us get a COO and do all this shit? And you were like, you guys are looking for shit to do. Why don't you just hire more acquisition people and hire more salespeople? And I was like, that's the most logical way to solve the problem. But we're thinking like, rather than going from here to here, you think very linearly. You're like, A to B, this is what you need to do. We sometimes tend to go all the way off in like right field and shit to then get to the same point as a way to get to that point.
Yeah, most people do that at the end of the day.
Yeah, we were in the car and you were on speaker and we basically presented that to you. We're like, yeah, we want to invest into this $20K program. They're going to help us get a CEO. They're going to help us train her. And you were like, but why? And we looked at each other and we're like, I'm not sure. He was like, guys, just stop. Like,
we have one of these like once a month.
Yeah, literally once a month.
I love it.
I appreciate that, bro. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, you guys are smart guys. I like people who have like good ideas and like actually execute them. Like in Denver too, like my brain was going when we were eating sushi.
Yeah.
You guys were telling me the business model. I was like, bro, you could do this, you could do that, you could do that.
Yeah.
Nah, I love it. But I'm glad you guys didn't get GKO'd.
But you were saying like you felt like certain days you're like, dude, I like was scrolling Instagram when I could have been like working and stuff like that. Like, how do you guys think about like structuring your days and like productivity and stuff like that? Because I feel like it's like become like a very...
Wait, before we even get into that, I fucking told these guys to get an office. They got an office.
Oh, man.
Plus,
Game changer.
We
were at 130K in cash collected, and then we got the office. Now we're at 300K. So I guess
in like what?
How many
60
people?
days?
How many people in the office?
Just us so far.
Yeah,
Okay,
a lot of
just
our
having
team,
a separate place from your house.
Our
Yes.
COO comes in once a month for a week.
Our client success.
Client success comes out. So it's cool. Like our new sales manager guy comes in. So it's cool to just have the environment where like people are always there, coming and going. But the biggest thing is like, if I have a fucking thought, I can just turn and be like, what do you think about this? Versus having to send a Slack message, send a text message, whatever. And shit just gets solved so much faster.
We
and we're just
execute things so
efficient.
much faster.
And there's pressure of like productivity.
Yeah.
So there's a downside and there's an upside to an office. Downside is the pressure of fucking around and socializing, which is like two people start doing it and then a third person joins the conversation and then now it's distracting everyone who's trying to be productive. And those who aren't are now in the conversation and it's just a shit show. The other side is I'm slacking off I'm like, oh man, I'm not really in the mood. And then I look at my boys, 1, 2, 3 sitting next to me are all dialed in, headphones on, pounding out insane amounts of work. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dude, what the fuck am I doing? Like, my teammates are like grinding right now, and I'm sitting here on my hands. Like, what a waste of my time. I'm at work.
Yeah,
like I'm at work.
So there's this book about, it's just like a psychology book, and they talk about how if you birth a baby and you feed the baby and everything, but you don't touch the baby at all, the baby will die. So as humans, they say that we need interaction. Like we need touch points. And the way that they explain it is like, I work with you in the office. I feel like you owe me a certain amount of touch points per week or per day, right? So usually it's like, hey, how are you doing? Good. You know, what are we working on? Blah, blah, blah. Small talk. You go on vacation and then you come back. You ever notice someone goes on vacation, you come back, now you talk to them for like 5 minutes and you're like, well, how was the vacation? Blah, blah, blah. It's because they owed you 5 touch points typically on average, and you didn't get that for a week, so now you're making up for it. And our brains are hardwired
subconsciously.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our brains are hardwired for interaction. So all this like work from home bullshit, I think it's cool in theory. Like it's cool when you're trying to go from 0 to 100K a year just so you can travel and have freedom, blah, blah, blah. But at a certain point, it's like, in order to level up, you need proximity. Like what do people say when you want to level up is like you're an average of the 5 people you hang out with most. The reason they say that is because of proximity and how it affects your output and your way of thinking. So having an office and just being, dude, me and Phil, we live in the same building. He lives
I moved in the same building now.
5 floors away from me. We walk to the office together. We're in the office together. We come back home and we typically have dinner at his house, at my house, or we'll go to a restaurant. So we're together all day long. So our problems get solved so much faster because we have proximity.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Look, there's 2 ways to look at it. So like in a remote work environment, a lot of people have been sold on that now, right? In my opinion, it should be like a hybrid. Yep. Like you should be able to like go into an office and also have the option to work from home if needed, or if you need to travel somewhere, you can be able to. Like if your job doesn't let you do that, then you're at a disadvantage because you're losing money every time you travel because you can't actually work, right? Mm-hmm. So, one, I think remote work is like a blessing and it's massive and it's something that no other generation has had up till literally like the last like 4 or 5 years at this level. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool to be living in a time like that. There are companies who literally don't have HQs, who have thousands of employees who have all scaled remote. So I think it's super doable. That being said, we as a company leveled up dramatically when we got an office. Well, we got an office in like October 2020. Like it hasn't even been 2 years. It's like
no, it literally hasn't. Because I started at the very end of October 2020,
and that was like literally when we like put desks in and like
we were still assembling furniture and desks and shit.
Yeah, so there's a disadvantage where like you have to have both in your company is what I'm trying to say, because like talent pool is limited local, right? Like if I can hire anyone in 7 billion people in the world, my pool is way nicer from a talent standpoint, right? Like I could find someone in fucking Serbia who's amazing, in Lebanon who's amazing, in Texas who's amazing, in Vancouver who's amazing, but I can't do that locally. You know what I mean? Locally is a little bit harder. Like
I tried. I was like, when we started this, I was like, we're hiring all local, and that dream was.
You talked to me about that. Quick. You're like, what do you think? I'm like, no, just like get people remote and have like core people local, and like, but like you have people like Nate over here. Nate like literally moved from Nashville. We have another person on the content team who just moved from Florida to work here. You know what I mean?
Trying to get our COO to move to Denver.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Dude, so Sam Ovens does management in-house, and then everyone else remote.
That's kind of what our situation is. We have like boardroom and content team, like guaranteed in-house. Like that has to be here. My assistant has to be here. She can't be remote. Like I need to see her. She needs to be able to do things here. And then
Physical
everyone
things.
else. Yeah. And then everyone else is remote. Like we have 60 remote and 30 in-house essentially. That's kind of how it blends out. But like, again, not that the remote people are less important. Some of them are in managerial roles as well. It's just like, if I'm sitting here and having a conversation about shifting the company or whatever, like I'm going to have it with my like 8 people that are in person before I have it with anyone else.
100%.
You know what I mean? So,
and there's definitely like certain meetings that are, I think, like more productive to be completely on like a Zoom or a Google Meets, because like everyone's sharing screens and doing all this stuff. Like
100%.
some of those meetings are actually like the most productive. But then there's definitely certain meetings that are way more productive in person, or just like little things like
certain meetings you have to be away from a screen to have a productive meeting.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like it requires like thought, like yesterday, even like with our creative meeting, like, you know what I mean? But like
Us all being in the same room. And it was cool though, but because Ines was actually on the video call, and it still felt like she was like part of the conversation, but definitely a little bit less.
yeah, exactly. Like I forgot she was there sometimes because she was on a screen.
Yeah, that's what sucks about doing like hybrid meetings. It's just it gets
They're
weird
the fucking
sometimes.
worst.
It gets weird.
But yeah, even like I'll share a wall with someone and we'll do a meeting for an hour over Zoom or over we use Discord. Like I'll do a meeting.
Like
over
you
Discord.
have the Zoom here, and then you'll be presenting on the wall.
No. Like I'm at my desk, he's at his. We're in the same office, and we're both
But
on our.
like he's on
on
like
the
the other
wall.
side of the wall.
There's
like
a wall
instead of
between
him
us.
I thought
coming
you were
to
doing
my
like a webinar style.
He's like,
It's like instead of
of
meeting in person, like I need you to share some stuff on your screen. I need to share some stuff on my screen. Our only other option is the conference room, which is like, okay, now I'll share, now you share. Like fuck that. Like let's just get on a video call, share, record it, done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just more productive. So you still need a mix of both, and we're still trying to figure out when you should use one versus the other versus both.
It reminds me of like back in the day when like in order to play video games with your friends, you all had to go to one guy's house and play split screen. And now it's like, no, let's all stay at our own houses and use our own computers and just
Play
like
online.
stream and play
Yeah.
online. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like the same type of shit.
I don't know about you, but like did you guys game at all? Did you guys ever play
A
video
little bit,
games?
yeah.
bit, yeah.
Call of
Okay.
Duty.
Okay, yeah. So like we would like Halo, for example, as kids. We could all play from our house on Xbox, but we would like have LAN sessions and like hang out
Yeah.
at one person's house.
That was the best.
But we would all bring our own Xbox and connect to their Ethernet, and we'd have like 7 TVs in the same room, all being on the same team playing, but we were in the same room. It's kind of the same logic. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like we could each play from our house, but if we all are here together, it's way more camaraderie and fun, even though we're still playing on our individual devices.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
Totally
yeah,
agree.
that's crazy, bro. 20 employees is not an easy feat, and I know you guys have now you're going to start experiencing some fun employee problems, like people leaving because
I mean, we started experiencing
one thing happened,
Yeah.
and you're like, dude, it wasn't that serious.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so
like can we could try to fix it together, or you could just fucking walk.
Sometimes they don't even want to fix it. They're
Dude.
just like, this happened, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
dude, so what I got caught in between, like, so you guys have had George U on before.
Yeah.
This dude has hacked the matrix. He's found a way to make money with no employees. I'm so jealous.
George?
Yeah.
Yeah, real estate.
Well, not even real estate, but he's like during COVID, he calls me up one day. I'm like, dude, what are you doing for money? Because I like never know. He's like, oh, well, I made like $200,000 in the last few months selling masks. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how are you? How? And then I see him like, he'll just launch some random shit that he just does by himself, or he'll just make like a fucking $1 million doing crypto or some shit with no team, no nothing. And I'm so jealous. So I'm like, the only way I've been able to make money is with team members. So I've started to learn though, like, okay, to get to the next level, it's all like, I always thought probably up until like early this year that we would only get as far as like what's in here, like my expertise, my skill set. So I'm always like level up, because that's as far as we'll go. And now I realize, like, dude, Elon Musk owns like 10% of Tesla, and there's a bunch of other smart ass motherfuckers that actually do a lot of the building, the day to day. So he's gotten really good at just hiring A players. So I've learned, like, okay, to get to the next level, it really is about being able to manage all these A players and find them, attract them, and keep them, which is a whole nother story. So I've started to find out, like, okay, it's really easy to, build a company by yourself, and that will only get you to maybe 7 figures. But if you want to get to like 8 figures, 9 figures, it's more about the people that you can attract and hire. And that's a whole different like skill set and conversation that I've never even thought about until like this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And here's the thing, though. Like, here's how I look at it. So, like, example 1, George, one person, right? Super cool. I don't disagree. Life's way less stressful, for sure.
100%,
George is less stressed than all of us. Right? That being said, here's how I look at it as a company. Okay. my job as a CEO is to acquire the best talent, acquire the best customers, and create a gap between my company and every other company in the space. Like, how fast can I gap everyone? You know what I mean? If we're 5 laps ahead of everyone, we're now in a much less stressful environment than being toe-to-toe with everyone and trying to get ahead. So, like, if we just, like, put a little bit more stress and pressure on ourselves to get ahead, once we hit that gap, life's a lot easier, right? So I'm trying to create that gap. And so how I look at it is, if I have 10 employees and they've been with me for 3 years, every year those employees have gotten smarter, better, stronger, whatever. So instead of just me getting smarter, better, everything, I have 10 people doing it, right? Now imagine at 90 people. If this time next year, all 90 of my team members became twice as effective as they were this time today, I have 90 people who are all now twice as good as they were a year ago, as opposed to 1 or 5 people being twice as good. My gap is bigger than theirs. Yeah. Like, I'm gapping everyone already because my entire team just became twice as good. My 90 became worth 180. You know what I mean? And now each of them individually are worth more. Quite frankly, most of the people in this company that are at a high level could go get a job anywhere they want at this point, just from their resume from working here. You know what I mean? Like, these are all the skills I acquired working there. Like, it's easy for them to go do that, you know?
My thought process, though, is like, when it comes to scale, like, variability is the enemy. Like, for this iPhone, every single one of them has to be exactly the same, right?
They're all dog shit.
So
just want to put that out there.
So when I think about, like, scaling a company, I'm like, dude, this shit's fucking hard because every person is a variable. One day they could be happy, one day they could be sad. At any given point, 5% of the population is depressed. So if you have 100 employees, at least 5 of them are like 0 productivity. The rest of them are getting married. They're getting divorced. They're going through a breakup.
Bro, you have no idea. We have 90 people. Do you know how many people are off every day?
You turn on the PTO calendar and it's like there's not a blank day.
There's just blank day forever. Yeah. Like, there's just like today.
You're never gonna have a day where there's
10% of our company is just off on PTO today.
Right.
Just an example.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, fuck. In order to really scale, your job then goes from like being the. Have you read Sam Walton's book, Made in America?
No, but it's on my shelf,
dude. He clearly defines like how to go from 0 to 6 figures, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, and he's like 0 to 7 is 0 to 7 figures is just about being the promoter, just being like the dude that's just yelling at the top of your lungs about your company.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he breaks down how as Walmart grew, it was all about the people. And he spends a lot of time in that book talking about like calling out specific managers, like, and he knew everybody in that company, everybody that worked at every store, every manager, how long they'd been there, everything. And he really got the people part of the equation down. Because a lot of people don't know, when Walmart started, Kmart already had like fucking 700 locations or some shit like that. They were way, way bigger. And now today, like,
Kmart doesn't exist.
Your audience doesn't even know who the fuck Kmart is. So, when you read that book, you're like, okay, why did these guys like take over with the same, like, identical business model? And you really see like this dude was so fucking good. I mean, he was very, very, very detail oriented. Like, this dude would go to like, there's a story about him getting arrested in a Brazilian store. He was in South America, and he's measuring the distance between the aisles to see if maybe they knew something that he didn't. And dude bought a plane so he could fly around and see which way cities were being built to find the best place to put a Walmart. Like, he was obsessed with every single detail of that company. And if you read that book from the perspective of like, what did this guy actually do? You'll really see a clearly defined road for how he got to each level in the game. It's pretty fucking sick.
That's dope. I should probably read that book. It's just been sitting on my
Listen to the audio.
I know why JR and Joel are not coming on the podcast anymore is because Joel is now anti-book and JR is very pro-book. Joel and Sergio spent like 30 minutes telling us why books suck.
I mean, Sergio, there's things you can't learn.
Sergio's ridiculous.
Except the book. Like, people don't make courses on it. You can't like go
He's like,
with Sam Walton.
You call the author and you get a meeting with them. That was their solution.
Yeah.
That was their solution. That was their solution.
I
They're
hope
like,
he
instead
has
of
fucking long distance then, because this dude's been dead for like 20 years.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm like, you can't get this info.
fuck the Bible, call Jesus Christ and get him on the phone, ask him all the
Talk to
questions
the man
you need.
himself.
Talk to the man.
Book a meeting.
No, dead ass. So they were arguing with us for like 30 minutes about it. I was like, we're just going to end it right here.
He's like, thanks for coming on our podcast, guys.
No. We just had to get onto a different subject because it was just like, okay, we're not going to convert Sergio on books right now. It's all good.
Yeah, people's the hardest part of business, bro, in general.
Yeah, and that's why like I realized why so many people fail, because, dude, most people can't handle politics in their personal life or conflict in their personal life. So managing 100 fucking people, and all of them are different, and all of them have different problems and beliefs and all this shit, like, it's tough.
Yeah. And especially when we want to find someone to do something a certain way, whether it's getting a job done a certain way, whether it's talking to clients a certain way, whether it's just handling projects in a certain way. It's hard to get everybody on that same page because they just operate and think differently in the way they do things. Like, for example, JR and I, for us, we go with speed. We're not the most organized people. We try to be, but we just like to go fast. Sometimes people need to write out exactly what they need to do before they go and do it. And to me, I'm like, no, like, let's just go. But then I come back and realize, like, these are our team members. Sometimes this is how they think and operate, and they need to have this kind of structure before they go do something, and I have to be okay with it. So for us, this is still a little bit new, and we're starting to pick it up as we go. But it's a huge learning process and growth process, because you have to understand that this is how your team members and employees are going to operate in order to get the job done. And you have to be okay with it, and you just have to figure out ways to make it more efficient for them.
Yeah, 100%. And here's the problem, though, is like, especially as new businesses, right? We have to like make processes and systems that go along the way. So sometimes it's like a more stressful environment than maybe being at a company that's been there for 20 years that has their shit together.
Yeah.
But the upside should be worth it for that person, right? It's like, for example, right now, if you guys, have 20 employees and someone's your head of, sales, like, if your company continues to grow to where it should be growing towards, that should be like a really big opportunity for that person to be head of sales of that kind of company, whether it's just for the resume builder, whether it's financially at the time, whatever it is, the upside should be there when you're starting with a new company. And so I find that we sometimes might lose talent or not be able to acquire them because we're newer, because maybe everything isn't exactly precisely dialed in, and we're not like, here's how to do everything in the company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At once. But at the same time, like, we're sacrificing that because we're new, and there's really not much you can do about it. Like, we can either get funding and just hire a bunch of people that have built an agency for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, hey, help us with all these problems, which like isn't really the approach we're trying to take. You know what I mean? Like, to get funded and grow like that. Or two, you have to go and just pay to get people who have been in the game for longer and different. The problem is in our game specifically, and maybe in your game a little bit as well, it's like ever shifting and ever changing, and like there's no like correct answer. Like, Facebook ads is different yesterday than it was tomorrow than it is. You know what I mean? It's just like shit just changes so much in our business specifically that it's hard to not bend. Like, if we don't make changes aggressively, we'll be the ones who get gapped. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We had an interior designer that we hired, and she quit like a week in because she was like, I thought you guys would have a warehouse.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean?
I thought you guys had warehouses at every single state you guys operate in, and I can go in there and get the furniture and furnishing. I'm like,
It's like, what do you mean? We just started this last week.
Yeah. But we told her.
We told her, like, this isn't built out. And she's like, no, this is, like, too disorganized for me.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
But, like, there's an advantage there, too. Like, how I look at it as, like, if I was her, I would enjoy that. I would be like, oh, okay, cool. So, like, I can bring my ideas to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they make sense, we're going to implement them. Like, yesterday, I feel like I solved this problem for you guys in, like, 3 minutes. You know what I mean? But like being full time somewhere and being able to present those things to those people, like, I don't know. I feel like if you're an ambitious person who really wants to gain experience, like, that's a pretty dope place to do it in. And like that.
Yeah, I will say we have really good culture, and everybody loves working for us.
Yeah.
And we've had people that are like we just had our company trip, so we flew everybody out to Phoenix, got like a mansion Airbnb there, and we all stayed there for a few days. And the feedback from the team was like, I've never worked at a place that like actually cares about me
Or
this
listen
much.
to my ideas.
Yeah, or listen. That was a big one too. Like listen to their ideas. Not only do we listen to their ideas, we like
Implement it. Yeah.
we lean on them for ideas on how to make shit better.
Cool. I'm gonna tell you guys 2 pieces of advice. I'm gonna get ahead of this curve for you. I listened to everyone's ideas for 2 years. Okay. And I implemented their ideas. And when their ideas didn't work, they blamed me because I implemented their idea. And they forgot that they gave me the idea. No, I'm so serious. I'm so serious.
He's being dead ass.
I've had people quit because they're like, oh, well, you know, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and you know, you added this person to my team. Like they give me a list of like, here's kind of all the reasons why I can't do this anymore, and I'll be like, okay, cool. Which one of these were your idea that you brought to me and were like, hey Eddie, I really need this. I need you to trust me. Like I'm running this and I need this. And I'm like, let's list them out. 100% of the fucking ideas you're quitting for is because you came to me and you said, I want to do this. And I said, deal.
I want to hire this person.
I want to hire. I really am absolute need in this person. I'm like, you sure? Yeah, 100%. I'm like, great. Okay, cool. So like at one point you want me to trust you as a leader, and then at the other point you want to blame me for the decisions that you made that I implemented for you, instead of being a dick ass CAO and being like, no, we're not hiring this person. I'm like, you really need them? Yeah, please, I really need them. Cool, done. No questions asked. We'll get them for you. You know what I mean? We'll get you the best of the best, whatever you need. So like, I'm cautioning you from now, because as you grow,
It's gonna happen.
it's going to come back because you let other people make too many decisions. And here's the reality is they're less qualified than you to make those decisions. They just think that's the right decision to make because they've never built $1 million a month company. You know what I mean? So like they don't really know. They just think based on my current situation that this is a solution. You know what I mean? When usually it's not. It's usually something else.
The way I think about it though is like they're in the day to day. Like they're the ones actually doing the thing. So they know that thing better than I do. So for example,
that's my thought too, bro. And
It's
I'm
like undercover boss. You go into the trenches.
yeah. Yeah,
But-
so I'm like I'm more likely to listen to you if you're the one that's doing that thing.
I agree. Here's I get that, and that's what I did. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, you're doing this for 50 hours a week. If you're telling me you need someone, I'm not gonna sit here and like
Say no. Yeah.
spend 2 hours figuring out why. I assume you've like figured out why you need someone and exactly what you're gonna do with them. And so now I drill these ideas way harder.
Yeah.
Like I turn down 9 out of 10 ideas with logic. Like not like, no, we don't want to do that. It's like, okay, well,
Let's
what
carry
about
this thought experiment to the end.
Yeah, exactly. Let's like really take it to like where this goes, and like, okay, you want to hire someone? Great. Like they're going to be working here for 40 hours. Can you draw exactly what they should be doing every week for 40 hours that will benefit the company and make money? Like,
Yeah.
I need all 40 hours on paper. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like little things like that where I'm like digging and then questioning and then asking and then questioning again and just like trying to break down the problem a lot. A lot of the times people think there's this huge problem, and then you ask them like 5 questions and it goes from like, we need all this to like, oh, if I just did this one thing in the morning for 5 minutes, it would solve all of it. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
I'm just cautioning you. It's good to listen to everyone's ideas. We even have in our company, we have a company-wide submission form where anyone can anonymously or unanonymously leave feedback. Like, hey, I think we should be doing this. This would be a really smart idea. Or, hey, we're having a lot of problems in this kind of side of things. The caveat is you can't just give a problem. You have to present a solution. So, like, it doesn't have to be.
It's not a complain form. It's like a problem
Exactly.
solution.
There's no
form.
complaining allowed. It's like, if you don't like something, you need to tell me why you don't like it and how it could be better. Otherwise, you're just coming to me and being like, wah, wah, wah. You know what I mean? Like, think about it a little bit.
that's
If
a good
it's
idea.
your problem that you're dealing with, help me find like at least one solution, and then I might give you a way better one. But I need you to like go through the mental process of like, I'm not complaining, I'm problem solving. You know, this is a problem that I'm trying to solve. It's not just like me saying, oh, we have a problem here.
And I think some of the problems, or like some of those requests and stuff, are also like, this is a really good idea, but it's not something that makes sense to implement right now. It's like something we should implement
Later
when we
on.
get to this point, or like, you know, this is a great idea, but does that actually scale? Like, are we going to be able to keep up with this idea for the next like month even? Like, probably not. So let's like dial it back. I like the direction we're going in. I agree this probably is an area that we need to fix, but let's figure out like a baby step in that direction first. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, when we had, I would say about 7 to 10 team members, we were at that stage where we were like, what ideas you guys have? Okay, cool. Yo, this person said they need this. Let's go do it, right? We go do it for them. But now I think when we're at 20 and we also have a COO that's involved, someone brings an idea. We're like, okay, we're going to discuss here shortly. We discuss about it, and then we bring it to the COO, and then we discuss it with her, then we sit on it for a little bit. And I would say right now, probably like 8 out of 10 times we are rolling it out because we're like, this person needs it. But the process of getting it rolled out is more extensive, but I think we just need to dive and sit on it a little bit deeper to get to that decision. Because you guys are right. Like, sometimes the decisions that we make right now doesn't have to be made until like a month or 2 months out. Like, it doesn't need to happen right now. But because our team is on it and they're like, I need this, we feel that urgency of like, this person can't operate to their full capacity unless they get this. So we have to provide it, or we feel like we're failing.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, HR and employees is probably the hardest part of this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like if you guys could just run your offer, like 3 of you guys, and just
like FTX, they have like 20 employees or something, and they're
Yo,
worth like billions.
have you actually seen the numbers?
It's insane.
With 5 employees and billions.
No, not 5. It's not 5. It's like
It's a
it's like
low
150.
amount, though.
And
they're all
Coinbase
remote.
has like 10,000, just for reference. They both do the same
Fucking
revenue.
crazy.
All the top people are just like billionaires.
Like, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's wild.
They've like broken the system. Like, no one else. I was looking at numbers and I was just like, who has the most employees? I was just like, dude, if you really go down the list of like how many employees some companies have, you're like, holy fuck. Like, Kroger is like top 20 in the world.
Wow.
Like Kroger.
Bro,
Like some
Pfizer,
fucking crazy ass shit, you know?
Pfizer, 80,000 employees. Moderna had 800. Pfizer beat Moderna with the vaccine by like a week. But granted, Moderna started it first.
Yeah. Still. With
yeah.
10% of the staff.
Right.
Way less, right? You
That's
said
1%.
1%. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said
Wow.
80 to 8,000. Like,
80 to 800.
80,000
So
versus
80
800.
to 800 is 10%.
Dude, if you had
No.
80,000 and Moderna has 800.
Oh, 80,000.
Yeah.
They had 1% of their workforce.
Dude, so there's this
That's wild.
podcast called Business Wars, and they break down like Dunkin' Donuts versus Starbucks, and it's like a 7-part series. Walmart versus Kmart, 7-part series. So they did one on the vaccine, and it was Moderna versus Pfizer versus Johnson & Johnson. And they break down, dude, Moderna was like not profitable ever until COVID happened. And they took a huge bet early on in like December of
19.
2019, that COVID was going to be a pandemic. And they started working on the vaccine before anybody. And even with like a fraction of the staff, they only lost the vaccine race by a week.
Still lost.
Still lost. But I mean, fuck.
No, it's crazy. So one concept we've been focusing on in our business is called talent density. Have you heard of talent density?
No.
So it's just like having more dense talent as opposed to like more people. You know what I mean?
So
like
just quality over quantity.
essentially, yes. But
and
like
have people that like have stacked more skills rather than like hiring like if we can have a guy that makes landing pages that is the designer and the actual developer, that's way better than having like a really good developer and a really good graphic designer, because now it's just like one guy that can just like fucking.
But what about like, you know, specialty and having somebody that's like, if all they've done is you know, graphic design their entire life, they're probably better at it than somebody that
correct
does.
me if I'm wrong, but if you guys have like one funnel builder, one graphic designer, one automations person, now you have to communicate to 3 different people and try to get them all on the same page when you can just have one person.
which is the problem at scale.
Which is the problem at scale. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've heard, I mean,
in our business.
Yeah. Well, that's why
Don't get me wrong. Everyone's an expert in their own lane.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I'm saying at your guys' level, it's much easier to connect with one person to handle all of that and get him on the same page or her, rather than having 3 separate people and you're having 3 different meetings on how to
exactly.
go around
And they're
this.
marginally better. So like, let's say you have a really good developer, a really good design. You don't even need a developer. Let's just say like a ClickFunnels funnel. Okay, you have a designer, you have a copywriter, and then you have like a techie marketing guy, right? Like 3 guys to build this thing. That process will take like 3 weeks to a month.
Mm-hmm.
Give me it, and like by tomorrow night you'll have the whole thing done. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you have a stack person that can.
Yeah, because I'm talent dense.
Yeah,
It's always speed that's like the faster thing. I always think about like Hollywood. Like we make like sick videos, like, and it's just like a team of like small people, and that's because like across the board, like a videographer can like shoot, edit, like make, do even like graphics and stuff, and so they can do a lot more. Versus like in Hollywood, you've got the director,
the lights guy,
the producer, the
lights.
grips
Dude,
that are
I
only
watched
in
the
charge
credits.
of lights. Like,
Grips.
it's literally
I watch the
insane.
credits at the end of a Marvel movie, like, and I sit there and like, holy fucking shit! How did you even like project manage this?
Exactly, and it's incredible because they've produced this thing that's like insane.
Yeah.
But at what speed? Like it takes them years to put out
Years and
literally
years.
one piece of content. Whereas like with us, we're like crushing content because we've got like a few people that have like stacked enough skills to do the whole thing from start to finish, like in a much faster way because they don't have to collaborate with like a bajillion other
I think they said
people.
like Black Panther took like 3 years to produce. Like insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's
for
a-
one movie.
And it's a visual and stunning masterpiece, like all those movies are. But it's like at the end of the day, like it at what cost, Like, and all those people have jobs. It's like sick,
Yeah.
It's cool to be able to even have something that many people can work creatively on, like one project. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I don't think that's for me though. Like I don't, as a content guy, like the Hollywood side of things, like doesn't really appeal to me. I'd much rather like work with a small team and make some like epic shit as in like a tighter group,
Be
what I mean?
able to like bend more,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in those bigger environments, it's like, here's your paper.
Yeah.
This is what you have to do exactly. No
Yeah.
You're like
questions.
pivoting like a cruise ship versus being in like a little speedboat.
But you'd be surprised when the content space how many people we get to hire, and they're like, I just want to do like Hollywood stuff, and I just want to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just
I want
what
to
they
make
want.
films.
I want to make films. I
Should
want to
be
be
in
a
LA.
filmmaker.
Should go to LA then.
No, yeah, you should be. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean, Atlanta's
Atlanta's a good spot too.
Yeah.
But it's just it is. I think that might even be part of the downfall. Is like people are like, oh, it's a media company in Atlanta. Like that's what like they're gonna help
Hollywood.
me get to the film world, and it's like probably. I mean, the skills that you'll have here will translate for sure. But at the end of the day, like our launch pad is probably not into like Hollywood. It's
Yeah.
more like into more content stuff on a smaller
if
scale.
anything, it's probably into like insane like Super Bowl ads, for example.
Yeah.
Like that would be way closer to us than.
Or like working on like sick music videos, or I don't know.
Yeah, I can see what you guys mean about the talent density though, because I mean, yesterday we had something happen and urgently I needed to get something done on Go High Level. And I reached out to the person that handles it, and he was unavailable at that time. So I'm like, fuck, like nobody else can do this. Like I don't know anybody on the team that can help me do this. I'm on the plane. So literally on the plane, it's delayed. I whip out my laptop and I had to do it. So I was thinking to myself, like, I wish our CEO know how to do it. I wish this person knew how to do it. I wish this person knew how to do it. And that's, I would say, like, I could see how at scale by only having one person specializing in that. And let's say that person's off on PTO and you needed something urgently done.
Happens all the fucking time.
Happens all the time.
I don't even
You
know
can't even
someone's
get it
off
done.
next week
Yeah.
until it's too late and they're off, and it's Tuesday and they're off all week, and I'm like,
Either you have to do it or
bro,
you
if
have to
I
wait.
knew this last week, I
Yeah.
would have. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You guys know Scott Adams, the creator of the Dilbert comics?
Yes.
So he says that he's not the best illustrator. He's not the best, storyline writer. He's not the best comedian. But when you put all his skills together, it makes something great. So same with like us, like you're probably pretty good at copy, but there's
I like to think I'm fucking amazing at copy. My
Okay,
team.
And he's good at copy.
Look,
for
I'm gonna
sure.
suck my own dick for a second. Dude, no, I kid you not. My team. Again, I'm the most full stack in the company, which may be not a good thing, but I've been doing this for longer than everyone. That's why I own the fucking company, right? Like we'll have a client.
There's no debate about that.
Like people come to me, they're like, "Fuck, this is gonna take me 8 hours." I'm like, "That should take you 15 minutes." And like, obviously it's a little intense and like, it definitely like scares people sometimes. Like, fuck, like I can't let Eddie down. Like it has to take me 15 minutes. Like that's not really what I'm trying to say to them. But like, for example, I'll get a client and like 1 week media buyer was out. Didn't say he was out until he was out. Like he told PTO team and HR, but like didn't tell his own team. He's out. Ads need to be launched. Copy needs to be written. Wasn't written for the person. Everything needed to be connected on the back end, etc. Like I had 12 minutes on my calendar.
So
I
you
went
had to
in.
knock it out.
I went in. I created all the audiences. I created all the campaigns. I created all the ads. I wrote copy that fucked. Like I'm talking 7% click through rate on Facebook, guys, in like 2 minutes of writing. You know, I was like, this is a good angle. And then I wrote the whole thing. I let it run for a week. I didn't look at it because it wasn't my account or anything. You know what I mean? I looked the next week. Every ad I made is the top performing ad on the entire account in the history of the ad account itself. You know what I mean? But that's the power of talent density.
Yeah.
Like how much do you have to pay to get an Eddie on your team?
A lot.
A retarded amount of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I offered someone who was my skill set level an absurd amount of money, more than me and my partner make, to come into the company and take over an entire department for us, and he declined it.
Wow.
I'm talking retarded amount of money. Like
high
more,
6 figures.
like I'm talking like
1%.
he could have easily made $1 million the next 12 months. Like, do you understand? Because he brings his own clients too. So like he gets a cut of that. That's a big deal.
Dude,
like,
the crazy thing is how many fucking people it takes to do like what me and Phil do. So, for example, with Phil, it's like running the sales team. He was doing the media buying,
fires,
content, fires, all this shit. It's like 6 people just to do what Phil was doing. So I look at it sometimes and I'm like,
Meaning putting out fires or firing people?
putting out fires.
and firing people.
So I look at it sometimes and I'm like, God damn, like just to replace me is like 7 people. Like how the fuck?
well, here's my theory. Hear me out. It's a good one. And once you start thinking like this, you'll be like, fucking Eddie, he's so right. Okay.
Typically how it happens. It's like, but why? I'm like, shit, Eddie's right.
So here I've come to this theory that if you run a done-for-you business, okay, which is what you guys are in right now as well, the company must be able to operate at 50 to 70% efficiency of what you think it should operate at and succeed. Example, I should be able to, with my systems and processes, recordings, checklists, whatever the fuck it is, be able to operate my company with someone who's half as good as me in every position. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If I can't, then the system breaks because it's too talent dependent rather than system dependent. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes very hard. And so like now I'm like, if this doesn't work with someone who's half as smart as I am, I can't do it because I can't find people as smart as I am left and right. But I can find people that are half as smart as I am. Not that I'm like a super genius or anything.
More just like skilled and like experienced probably too.
What do you mean?
Not just smarter, you know, like it's not like IQ. It's also
not
like
IQ, exactly.
like the skills and expertise. Like it's hard to find someone with that breadth of like different
just efficiency.
Like
Like
yeah.
A lot of us build our companies and our process and everything, assuming everything's gonna go 100% correct.
Like most of our jobs are only like 7 years old. Like you know what I mean? Maybe sometimes not even.
like as a career,
exactly.
Yeah.
like it didn't exist.
Like media buying wasn't a thing beside. Well, it was in like magazines and TV. It wasn't like,
But not like Facebook
social
ads,
media
yeah.
ads.
Yeah.
You know, like that career is like brand new. So like how many elite level media buyers are there in the world?
Yeah.
Like who knows?
No, yeah. I mean, you're on the same page. I had someone very high up in my company come to me and be like, dude, like some of the people here haven't been doing their job for more than like a few years. I'm like, yeah, because that's like when the fucking job was created. Like, you know what
TikTok
I mean?
editor.
Like TikTok's been how long?
TikTok media buyer must have 10 years experience.
Must have 20 years.
This is the world we live in, bro. You know what I mean? He's like, what about like our email marketing team? Like they've only been doing it for a few years. I'm like, yeah, and they're fucking better than everyone else that we compete against. Like we're fucking monsters because like all these SMS automations and all this shit weren't created till like fucking 5 years ago, bro. Like it's like a new world. Like autoresponders and shit, like sure they were around, but like not to the magnitude that they are now in regards to like tagging, filtering, like being able to do like
and this
insane
shit is not slowing down either. Like this like career path of all these different like things that we're all talking about is only getting crazy.
No one can stay with my company for the next 5 years and not be like having a very financially successful career with low stress in that time period. Like this is what I was telling you guys yesterday. Like if you work here and if I just told someone, not you guys who are trying to go start your own thing and shit, but like if I told someone every year you're going to make 30% more money than you did last year, like that's pretty hard to pass up in my like if someone came to me and told me that and I wasn't running my own company and I just wanted to do one thing, I'd be like, sign me up. Tell me for the next 10 years I'm just gonna make 25-30% more every year. Sign me up. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. And yeah, this marketing game is definitely ever changing, but I think we're trying to get to the top of it always. Anyways, it's random ass.
Yeah, you guys are pushing fast.
Trust me, it's way more intense when you're in the building. People are like, what the fuck is going on? We're doing so many things. What's happening?
Yeah, we walk in today. Eddie's like, yeah, there's not going to be a lot of people here today. It's work from home day. I just thought I was going to walk in. People are like cranking out on the computer. I was like, this is chill.
I like coming in on Fridays because there's not a lot of people like talking to me and distracting me and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also now on Fridays it's like mostly the content team, so it's like kind of like it's kind of the day where we just have the office to ourselves. It's kind of
all
fun.
day.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
It is. I usually come in like if we didn't have a podcast, I'd be in flip flops and gym shorts right now.
My flip flops are in my bag. I'm switching out after.
Like it's like our who gives a fuck.
What
day.
time does everybody typically head out during the weekdays?
6.
Your office? 6.
6 is like when day's over. I'd say like 20% of the office stays till like 6:37.
Yeah. The weirdest thing for us, like we work at our office is in the WeWork, and it'll be like 5 o'clock, and we're there since like 9. It's like towards the end of the day now. I'm like, I'm gonna get some water. I walk around the building, I'm like, there's no one.
Bro, no one does shit in Denver.
No one
does
here.
shit before 11 or after 3.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. That's what I didn't like about a career in Denver. I loved it. I was like, yo, I would move here in a heartbeat. I actually love the city. I love how close everything is. I can see everything from one spot. Like I can go to this stadium, this park, this whatever, like all here. It's all here.
Our office is like right in
So how do we
between
close
the
Eddie
sports.
on moving to Denver?
You can't.
Because what was the thing? It was just people didn't.
There
like,
was
have the
there
hustle.
was too much complacency in Denver, and there's not enough pressure from the outside people to
to
be
elevate.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Miami, you walk around and you're like, I'm fucking poor. I have to be better.
Yeah.
You know what I
Every
mean?
car is a fucking Lambo truck. You're like, I'm fucking poor.
Don't get me wrong.
We rarely see exotics.
You need both sides. But like in Denver, I felt like everyone is like, it's not because everyone's smoking weed or some shit. It's like everyone's just like,
Well, they are.
they move slower. They care less. Everything's like more casual.
It's just more lax.
It's not like we got to go somewhere. It's like, oh, we're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, whereas like, you know, even in Atlanta, if you go to downtown Atlanta and you're like there in the daytime when like businesses are operating during lunch and shit, it's like go, go, go. It's like people fucking opening doors quickly. No one holds the door for another person. It's like next. Not saying that that's an ideal word, but I'm saying it's like, it's pressure to move.
Yeah,
It's like,
I noticed that in the office. Like I get there every day, 9 o'clock, all the time, 9:15, and I'll see like nobody's there yet, and I see people strolling. Like a person walks in at 10, person walks in at 11, person walks in at 11:30, and I'm like,
Then they chat. Then they get
chat,
some fucking
I worked in a
coffee.
and then they
WeWork
leave
there.
at 2.
They leave at 2, all of them, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I worked at a WeWork there because we have a Denver WeWork, like a Denver office,
Yeah.
and for like our Amazon team. I worked there that day. By like 2:30, everyone was gone. There was like 2 people out of like 100 offices still there.
Yeah.
2, bro. I was like, what the fuck? They're like, yeah, this kind of everyone usually leaves around this time. I'm like,
Yeah.
What
do
are
what?
What do you think they're mainly just like what type of employees are those people typically? They're working remote. They're working for some
Yeah.
they're working for like Salesforce or some shit.
Bro, this is my
we
thing.
have a Quizlet has an office in our building. There's this company called Circle C. They have a $50,000 a month office, and there's only ever 4 people in there, and it's like a 50-something person.
We were touring
office.
our office, and we walked by, and the person showing his office is like, yeah, this office right here, this is like a pretty large tech company. I'm like, how much are you paying for this? Like, $50K. I'm like, there's only one guy in there. Like, you're paying $50K for one guy to be in here. Like, where is the rest of the team? It's 2 o'clock in the middle of the day.
it's fucking nuts, bro.
Yeah.
First of all, how the fuck do you have that much money just like to not
Dude, I looked
care
them
about
up.
looking at that?
I
problem?
looked them up. They're a huge fucking company.
No, I'm sure they are. It's just like crazy to think that like no one's even checking
Yeah.
like hey, what's this 50K line item? Like, it's
Yeah.
so insignificant. They're like, oh yeah, which was
Just Chad likes to use
is
it.
that our water? What is that?
Only Chad likes to use it.
Yeah.
We got to keep it for Chad.
Like, we can't lose Chad.
yeah.
How much are you paying Chad? $5K a month.
Chad's roommate's dog always interrupts his Zoom calls if he works from home, so he's got to have the WeWork.
Yeah.
Like maybe we can knock it down to a 10K a month office. Like
Chad, are you okay with
10K
10,000 square feet?
Chad doesn't like it if there's not a lot of space around him.
Yo, so I have a philosophical question for you guys. So I've been listening to you guys know Iman Gadzhi?
Iman Gadzhi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been listening to some of his stuff lately, and I like didn't know who this guy was until like last year. And he was talking about like how there's like different things. He's like, there's no happiness, there's just peace, fulfillment, and joy. And I started thinking about this, and I was like, everybody wants fulfillment and peace, right? But they're kind of yin and yang to each other. I was like, as long as I'm growing a company, I will never fucking have peace. Like, I'm never gonna fucking not be anxious or worried about something. But at the same time, if I don't have a company, I'm never gonna have fulfillment. Like, there's no way if I retired right now that I would have any kind of
I
fulfillment.
mean, you could work a job and have fulfillment, bro.
Right? No, I get that.
Yeah.
But
But
he's saying
saying
from a
working in
work
general.
perspective, like
Yeah.
he's not just going to sit on a beach and feel 100% fulfilled.
I think for entrepreneurs, this is more for entrepreneurs or
It's a personal
for
question,
just ambitious people.
Ambitious people. I wouldn't say just entrepreneurs.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, if Andrew right now had $10 million in his bank, he might sit on his ass for a week or two and try to invest in some crypto projects or something. But then, but then he'd
Right.
then he'd
Get
be
a
like,
$50,000
then he'd be
a month
like-
office.
after like 6 weeks, he'd be like, I'm fucking bored. Like, I need to do something, or like, this is I'm just.
I need to like work towards something, put my energy into like building something, you know?
My dad even was like, I was like, when are you gonna fucking retire? I asked him this like a month ago. He's in Lebanon right now, and it was like, he has everything he needs to retire. It's not like he has hundreds of millions, but like, he's got it. So
His money goes far in Lebanon too.
let's just say that, yeah. So like, imagine we're sitting. I don't know if you saw my stories while I was in Lebanon at all.
Yeah, I
but
saw.
like, there's like, we own a restaurant there that's like on the edge of a mountain, and you can see like, it's like the sickest view, and we're just sitting there, and I'm like, when are you gonna fucking retire? And he's like, when you guys grow your companies more. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. I'm like, we're good for you to retire if that's the case. Like, I was like, Dad, if I handed you $10 million cash right now and just said, put this in your account, would you retire? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, so what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're just not gonna fucking retire. Like, that's the problem.
Because
like,
the natural state of man is productivity. Like, if you're sitting around and you're like, let's go fucking gather. Dude, me and Phil went camping, and first time going camping. And then it's like, I got there and I was like, okay, what now? It's like, all right, well, let's go fucking find some sticks that we'll need for later for this fire.
Well, we still got light. Let's gather some sticks.
So it's like I think as human beings, we're hardwired for productivity. But my question is, when is the trade-off where you're like, okay, let me trade fulfillment and doing shit and making money for just peace of mind of just being able to live a stress-free life? Like, your post about like how much weight you've gained since being like a CEO. Like, I understood that because I was like, dude, this shit is fucking stressful. Like that, it's hard to understand if you're not in it. But when you posted that, I was like, dude, this shit's fucking.
you guys have brought that up like 10 times in the last 24
Dude,
hours. It resonated with both of you.
dude, it hit.
Because Eddie did
Dude, I
like a
gained
before
20
and
pounds.
after. Eddie was like, this was me before. This is after. He's like, I guess you could say I gained more weight as a CEO.
I carry a lot of weight
I
as a
carry a lot
CEO.
of weight as a CEO. I was dying. I was like, bro, I feel this.
It was like the personification of like, dude, the fucking like weight on our shoulders.
No,
basically.
exactly. That was the kind
Yeah,
of.
exactly.
So what's your question? Like, when
Like,
do you
at what
find-
point do you start to trade like, let me just keep grow for like, let me just like, I saw Taylor Welch, he posted this thing on TikTok and he was like, I did $90 million last year. It wasn't worth it. He's like, I lost a year of my family's
2
life.
years. Yeah, 2 years of family life.
That was about to be my answer. Is like, having a kid. Now that I have a kid, that shifted a little perspective. That I'm not saying it's found a balance. I'm just saying like, peace has inserted itself 10% more into my life, because like now I'm like, okay, Like, even if it was just me and my wife, I would work all Saturday, for example. But now it's like me, my wife, and a baby. I'm like, hey, babe, I'll take Saturday off. I'll work Sunday. You know what I mean? Just an example. So, like, I find ways to be better about that. Like, hey, for example, if I miss the gym in the morning, which I do often because I told you this, I'm just a night owl. Like, I just can't wake up early. I can do it for days at a time, weeks at a time. On a trip, I'm fucking insane. Like, if I'm in a hotel room, I'll get up every day at 5:30, 5:45. I'm okay. But at home in my own house, because of like the late night candle burning, like I will miss morning workouts that I think I'm going to make. And so I have to make them up after work. And now I'm at the point where I skip 70% of them because it's more valuable to me and my family to be home with the baby before she sleeps, as opposed to working out, getting home at 8:45, and then she sleeps in an hour. So that's a big part because it needs to, here's the problem, because we're mentally fucked up and we just want to fucking go. It needs, the excuse doesn't need to lie on us. It needs to lie on someone else, like a kid, a wife, a family member, someone where you're like, I have to give. Does that make sense? I think that's where it starts happening a little bit more, because like if I'm single, I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm going to work 100-hour weeks every week. Like, even at Lifetime, bro, I didn't even own a company. I was working for another company. I would get to work at 5:45 in the morning. I would work out. I would be done, ready, like good to go by like 8, let's say. I'd work from 8 to like 10 p.m. I'd work out again at night. I'd go home, sleep, wake up, do it again. Like, what else do I have to fucking do?
Yeah.
Like, except be productive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, for my wife, for my kid. You know what I mean? It gives a reason that's not me, because I'm mental, bro. Like, if I have nothing else, no other people to be responsible for, I'm just working all the time. Like, what else would I do? Like, sure, I'll play some video games. Don't get me wrong. I'll watch football. I'm fucking addicted to it. Like, I would rather die than not be able to watch football. Like, that's how addicted I am. But like, you guys saw yesterday. I just go hard.
Throw it to A-Rob. He's like, fuck, I needed that. I'm like, damn, Eddie.
But I think that's a part of it. I think it's a selfless decision to do that, because the selfish thing to do is to work more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, we try to justify it. Like, you guys don't have kids or wives, right? You have a girl, but like you don't have a wife. So like, you try to justify it more by being like, oh, well, I mean, I have to work this hard to get you the things that you guys want in life. You know what I mean? Like, that's my excuse always. I'm like, you think your car just bought itself, babe? Like, you think this fucking home that you just built, like, just built?
Itself,
like,
yeah.
like, I have to do these for you guys to have these things. But then you start realizing their priorities are actually like the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you start, and you know, as you grow, like, you guys are about to go meet with like a dude who's a billionaire, for example. You start realizing the only thing that's important from someone else, and the thing I have the most respect for, is their time more than their money. Anyone can give me money, but if you have money, the only thing that's valuable to you is time. And so if you have money and you're giving me your time, that means I feel of value to you as a person, and so I respect that a lot. You know what I mean? Like, if you have money, like if I go tell someone, hey, invest $50K with me, I mean, fuck, my fake profiles do it and they get money. You know what I mean? Like, you imagine the real one. So like, but when someone gives me time, I treat that with a lot of respect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if they have everything they need, because that's the only thing that's the most valuable resource they have.
Dude, do you like, I'm sure you don't like clean your own house or any of that shit, but do you like have somebody that like does your dishes,
Throws your
cooks
underwear
food?
wherever the fuck you want. No, I'm just kidding.
No, my wife does it.
Okay, but if you didn't, do you think you would?
If I didn't,
If she didn't.
You know, I actually self-reflected this morning on it, because my wife's been gone. Okay. And I was like, when my wife's here, I take out the trash every day because it's full. I was like, I've been here for a whole fucking week. My trash still isn't full yet. You know what I mean? Like, so there's like little things where I'm doing less in the house. I'm in the house less because my wife's gone.
Yeah.
So like, I'm out more, so I have less requirements to clean and do things. Like, the only thing I really have to do is laundry, right? Like at a high level, or like cleaning a dish that I cooked in, for example, let's just say. But like, outside of that, if I'm living solo, like, I'm not like, the room's a little messy. I like don't give a fuck. I'm sleeping there, I'm waking up, and I'm gone. I don't see it anymore. I walk in at midnight. I'm like, here we go again. You know what I mean? Like, but like when my wife's around, I get home, The house smells amazing. The pillows are perfectly lined up on the couch. It's a very peaceful environment when I come home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit messier, but like I just don't care for it. If I was single and like banging bitches, my shit would be dialed in. You know what I mean? But like I have no guests, I have nothing. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like my home is like my living abode, and like, you know, compared to Americans and just people in general, I am considered the top 0.1% of income. And because I own this company and other companies, and bro, like Andrew can tell you, I live like a very modest average person. Like I live in a 1,600 square foot apartment with a garage.
Yeah, I love. I obviously love paying people to fucking like clean and do all that shit. But dude, the other day I like mopped my own floor, and I was like, damn, this feels kind of good. Like I feel like a. It's just like an anchor to like normalcy sometimes,
Yeah.
just to fucking like clean or do your own dishes or whatever. Dude, I sound like such a fucking.
You
like,
sound like such a
pretentious-
pretentious fucking dick. He's like, I felt like what it was like to be a normal person.
It's like when like
I
Jerry,
picked up my trash.
like Jerry Seinfeld can't do stand up anymore because he's not relatable. He's so fucking rich. Like he can't even just like
Dude,
like,
but I feel
you know what
that-
the thing about private planes is, and it's like no one fucking relates.
No one
at
relates,
all.
yeah.
I'm dead
Bro,
serious.
that
And
sounded bad. That
it
sounded
wasn't
bad.
even a mop. It was like the Swiffer with the pad that you put on the bottom.
press
The
the
wet
button.
jet, the Swiffer wet jet.
Yeah, and I was like,
all
wow,
have
this
one
is.
of those,
I was like,
bro.
this is so grounding. Like to just like.
He's like,
cleaning,
wow,
like,
I wiped my own ass the other day.
oh, I don't do that, dude. I have a bidet. Fuck out of here
You know
with
what
that shit.
You know what I hate though? I like one thing I can't do is build shit. I suck at building shit. I just
Like
can't.
handyman work.
Like
Yeah,
building
like-
an IKEA.
Like, hey babe, the baby's
cabinet.
crib is here. I'm like, oof, I don't.
So like mounting
Terry-
mounting a
Terry
TV.
actually likes that shit. I feel
Terry
like.
loves it. She worked at Home Depot, but my old assistant, bro, I would just when we had a kid, like my old assistant, we'd get like 8 boxes at the house. I'm like, hey, today go home and like build all that.
Okay,
shit.
hold on. I gotta ask
I
you.
want to get home and they're built.
The
Like,
paintings out there. Did you mount that up?
No,
Okay, because it's like cricket.
Didn't your dad like built this whole office, right?
my dad's a monster. Yeah,
Okay,
he pretty much built every office we have.
there was like artwork like that, and I was like,
It's probably
no
you
one's
probably
gonna
just need
fix
to move
it.
it.
Yeah.
The problem is all that artwork has one pin on the back.
Oh,
So like
okay.
if you just push it like an inch, it straightens out.
Yeah. And also there's like standing desks that are kind of near them. So sometimes like when people are doing the standing desk thing, it'll like the computer will like bump it
Bump
like
it
a
up.
little bit and no one
Yeah, yeah.
realizes. But,
Oh, in the main room, they're always
dude, but the
crooked.
thing is
There's,
when
like,
Terry was here, there were so many more little housekeeping things that would just get done. Whereas like now there's just so many things where it's just like, bro, if Terry was here, this shit would have not flied for like an hour. But like it's been like that for like 2 months.
yeah, Terry's my wife, by the way.
okay,
Yeah, so she stepped away now from the office since like we have a kid.
yeah.
Holy fuck, by the way, kids full-time job. Like there's
They
no
can't
way-
do anything.
You cannot marry a girl. I'm telling you right now, guys, you cannot marry a girl who is more career driven than kid driven if you plan on having a family. It's impossible. It won't work. It's 24-hour job.
Yeah, I
Like,
bet.
not 12, 24. 24-hour job full time. Like I took care of the kid for 4 days.
Yo, when I first officially met Eddie when he came to Denver, we were playing basketball. Right after we were playing, his like wife FaceTimes him. He was like, "Holy fuck, guys, look, I have a kid." I'm like, are you shocked? Are you still in shock?
It's crazy, bro.
He's like, this is my kid,
Bro, it's literally a trip. Like, think about it. Like, you're literally like, all of a sudden, you're like, holy fuck, I made this
I made this, yeah.
little person. What the fuck?
but then you realize like you didn't do anything as a guy. As
True,
a guy,
true.
As a guy, you laid on your back, you busted a nut. Your wife dealt with this hormonal problem and carrying a child for 9 months. Then then you spend 2 hours holding up her legs. Like this is your
Holding
forever.
up her leg.
Holding up her legs to squeeze the child out, and you're like, great, I can't wait to help. And then you realize you're fucking useless because your tits don't make milk.
Yeah.
And now she spends 9 months carrying this child, and then like
Your tits.
like has to feed them 5 times a day from their own soul and body. It's just like, and you as a guy just sitting there, I'm like, wow, I didn't really do shit. Like I told my wife a week ago, I'm like, you know, I reflected and literally all I did was just like have sex with you, and you've pretty much done everything since. So I just want to say really thank you from the bottom of my heart. We're useless as guys, bro, in this. Like let me put an example. Like as a guy, where like, you know, everyone's like, oh, my dad wasn't there. My dad never took me to practice. It was never like my dad didn't carry me when I was crying as a newborn. You know what I mean? So like for the first like 3 years of a kid's life, you are like dramatically less significant than the mother. in regards to what you can do. You can't feed them a certain way. You can't do certain things. Like, you just can't do it. After that, you can start taking them to school. You can take them to practice. You can take them to events. You can like hang out with them more. You can communicate back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There becomes
Well,
much
you
more
have
value.
a son or a
daughter. I wanted a son, but now that I have a daughter, bro, I just want 3 girls.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Girl dad.
dude, they're just, I can't, man. I can't. I'm out, bro. I'll call my baby right now. She's only 4 months old. I'll call her right now. She could be crying her eyes out, bro.
Like
she'll
this.
see me and she'll start laughing. She's like, right, all the time, every time. I call her, like, Terry's like, oh, I'm sorry, she's crying. And I'm like, let her look at me. And I'm like, hey. She's like, hey. Like, just stop crying. Like, it melts your heart, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying when it comes to, like, peace and, like, those things, you start being like, you know, I need to be there for this person.
You realize what you do it for.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
So-
it's wild too, like even going back to our conversation about like how old this technology is and how nice it is to be in a time where you could work remote. Think about how nice it is that like Terry's in Connecticut and she can FaceTime you and your baby can actually see you and
That's what I'm
respond
saying.
to you
It's
on
insane.
a phone.
Yeah.
You're literally hundreds of miles away. Like it's actually insane. Like that's like a reality for
I remember
us.
my dad and mom when they were here, they would like buy cards, like gift cards essentially for phones. And it was like $3.50 a minute to call Lebanon, for example. And they would have to dial this like 40-digit code and then dial the number in Lebanon that they wanted to call. And they would need to make sure that person was standing next to their fucking landline, ready to pick it up at all.
Oh yeah, we
times.
did that shit too. My parents were from DR, so we had I had to go to the fucking bodega and get calling cards.
Exactly.
And then it would
You know
cut,
exactly
it
what
would cut
I'm
you
talking
off. It'd be like, oh,
Right
you got
away.
20 minutes, and right at 20 minutes, just fucking hang up.
Done. And it was like $100.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, man, I just spent $100 to talk to my brother. Now it's like, yo, what's up? Like, life's so easy. Like, the internet has brought everyone together, which I think is important. Like, should shift how people operate as a whole. Because like, I think a lot of people still operate like we don't have these things. Like, oh, well, why didn't we see each other too much? Well, bro, I fucking call you and text you on a regular basis. Like, that's me seeing you, like, in my opinion,
Yeah.
like in life. No, really, like, I don't really, I mean, how many people do you guys really hang out with outside of each other and like 2 people, like on a regular
Yeah.
basis? Like rarely
mainly
ever,
just us.
right? Like
Yeah.
if I text you once a week, you're like VIP to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's how I look at it. Like I don't text a lot
Hey,
of
we're
people.
VIP to Eddie.
Yeah, we
It's-
gotta
it
bounce.
sucks.
We gotta.
You text me.
I know we gotta wrap it. We
we
gotta
got
wrap
our
it up.
other meeting fucking 40 minutes away.
All right. Well,
We're not billionaires yet, okay?
but when we are, we're not going to give you a free lunch. Remember that
It's all right.
shit.
I'll pay for it.
We'll pay
I
for
remember
it.
this.
We'll pay for it.
I respect it. Well, cool. Well, here's how we end these things anyways. Phil, yeah, I'm not going to tell you to do one, JR, because you did one. But Phil, we do like a fortune cookie. Fortune cookie advice.
Is that a
And,
racist joke?
It is. It is. Everyone else, we just say, hey, give us a cool piece of advice, but yours is going to be a fortune cookie.
No, literally, it's like if you had to give a fortune cookie, like piece of advice to someone who's like younger than you or just coming up or whatever, what piece of advice would be on the fortune cookie? It could be kind of a long fortune cookie.
Okay, so basically just one piece of advice.
What would you tell the either young version of yourself or a young person today or
Like you're
someone-
fucking dying on a bed, bro, and there's like 18-year-old Phil over there.
Okay, so
Hey, Dad, help.
how long do we
Hey,
have?
do you
'Cause
give
I
him
want
one
to tell. I want to tell my.
Go
piece.
ahead. Go ahead.
All right. My piece of advice is no matter how big you get, never forget your family, because lately these past 6 months we've been grinding so fucking hard, and I made a commitment to my family because I come from a tight knit family. I'm like, I'm gonna be away from California. My whole family's in California, but I will make a commitment to come once a month. These past 2 months I skipped both months, and didn't even realize. Like they were like, you haven't been home in 2 months, and I was like, fuck. Like that's my like why. You know what I mean? When it comes to
Yeah,
balance. So I was grinding so hard, forgetting that I was sacrificing these times with my family that they realized and I didn't even realize, and I felt like a shitty person.
Yeah.
So my piece of advice is no matter how big you get, never forget your close ones, your family, your loved ones, because those were the people that were there with you even when you first started. So they know like this, you know, Phillips making money, this and that. He didn't even realize he didn't even come home in like 2 months. So now next week I'm going back home after realizing. So
Respect. Let me give you a pushback real quick. I know we have to go.
yeah.
This is what I'm talking about with technology, though. Like, for example, if you FaceTimed your mom every day for 5 to 10 minutes,
Yeah.
isn't that more valuable than visiting them once a month for 2 days? Just a perspective.
It's the same thing, but they value doing activities, hanging out with
I get
family.
you. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that's what they value.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
Also,
what
there's
they value.
like
My family doesn't
there's
do
like
shit. We
30
just
of
hang out.
them.
there's like my family is huge.
That'd be a lot of FaceTime.
Just to give you an idea, my grandma has 7 kids,
Yeah.
which one of them is my dad, and all of them have 3 children.
Yeah, our family's the same. My mom's
Huge
My
ass
mom's family
family.
is 9. My dad's had 6, and everyone has 3 to 4
There's like a
kids.
family party, a reunion, like every weekend.
Our Christmas
Yeah.
is like 100 people.
Same,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
But I love it. It's our weddings at churches. It's like our side is like fucking decked
Stacked.
all the way to the back, and the other side is like 3-4 rows, and we're just like 15 rows deep, and it's all immediate family.
But I honestly, like, I love the family the way it is. Like big families, like I won't be the person who I am today. You won't be the person who you are today without having a big family. So
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you guys for getting on the show. If people want to follow you, connect with you, buy your shit, how do they do it?
The J.R. Rivas on Instagram, official J.R. Rivas on TikTok.
it's Phillip Tran on Instagram and TikTok.
That's it?
Yep.
And where's the podcast? YouTube,
Yeah.
everywhere.
The Full Disclosure podcast on YouTube. And yeah, we talk a lot of shit. I talk that shit for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are killing it.
Thank you guys
Yeah.
for making it on. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it, guys.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the 4Media Uncut podcast. If you want to work with us, learn with us, or even join the team and be a part of what we're doing at 4Media Marketing, just go to our website. It's 4media.marketing. No .com, no .net, .marketing, because that's all we do around here. And most importantly, share this with a friend wherever you're listening to or watching this on. Please hit that share button, send it over to a friend, someone else that you think will get value out of this. It would mean the world to us.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video and comment down below any suggestions for future guests. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate this 5 stars and leave us a review there. That helps us tremendously in the algorithm world. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of 4Media Uncut Podcast.